In the early 20th century, the U.S. Navy decided to fight inappropriate tattoos among sailors and prohibited people with such tattoos from joining. This led many young men who didn't want to serve in the Navy to get tattoos of naked women. Interestingly, if they later changed their minds, they went back to the tattoo shop to add clothes to their girls. School, Papua New Guinea, 1990. All war propaganda, all cries, lies, and hatred always come from people who will not go to that war. George Orwell. Ivory traders in the Great Lakes region, Africa, 1880s. American scientist James Stuckey and volunteer Judy Creedon demonstrating the human body's ability to conduct electricity during a lecture in New York, 1966. License to practice prostitution, Great Britain, 1876. Inflatable boats made of buffalo hide, early 19th century, India. A coffin in a tree in the taiga, USSR, 1927. Air burial is one of the oldest religious funeral rites. On Nazi-occupied territory, everyone had to worship Hitler, but not everyone liked it. A pigeon with a miniature camera for aerial shots, 1907. During World War II, Germans built a fake airfield in occupied Holland to divert attention. All structures and equipment were made from wood and plywood. Construction was carried out in the strictest secrecy until a British bomber flew over the fake airfield and dropped a wooden bomb on it. It's unknown if the Germans appreciated British humor, but they got the hint. The construction was halted. In 1971, civil rights activist Ann Atwater was forced to work with KKK leader Ellis. Later, Ellis renounced the Klan, tore up his card, and dedicated the rest of his life to fighting for equality. Peaky Blinders, members of the gang that terrorized Birmingham in 1903. The jaws of the extinct megalodon shark compared to a modern great white shark. In 1958, China declared war on sparrows. Millions of birds were exhausted to death. The result? A catastrophic famine the following year. With no birds to eat the caterpillars, the pests devoured all the crops. Refugee children from the city of Kayseri, orphaned as a result of the Armenian genocide, arrive at an orphanage, Syria, 1920. Gas chamber for horses, Germany, 1942. Used to treat skin diseases, but it looked terrifying. In 1954, American Dawn Pointer introduced whiskey-flavored toothpaste. With 3% alcohol content, it quickly gained popularity among liquor enthusiasts. Egyptians try Pepsi Cola, Cairo, 1946. During World War II, Unit 731, led by Shiro Ishii, carried out cruel human experiments. Following the war, Ishii avoided prosecution and was granted immunity by the American occupation authorities. A newspaper seller selling the latest edition, 1939. August 17, 1896, saw the first recorded pedestrian accident in the world. This marked the beginning of fatal traffic accidents. A 39,000-year-old mammoth carcass. Scientists claim it is so well preserved that its brain remains untouched. American soldiers are shown one of the methods of execution in the German concentration camp Buchenwald, 1945. A Filipino survivor of the Manila Massacre shows the attempt of a Japanese officer to behead him. The Manila Massacre, which took place between February and March of 1945 during the Philippine Campaign, took the lives of between 100,000 and 240,000 civilians, according to U.S. estimates. Prostitute's identification card. Prostitution was legal in Russia, but only after registration, 1904. The largest horse in the world, captured in 1927 in England, named Supreme. An enormous horse, 2 meters tall and weighing 1.5 tons, was as heavy as freight trains. A 25-year-old woman at the grave of her brother, who served in the U.S. Army in Iraq and Afghanistan, 2013. An American destroyer escorts a Soviet freighter carrying missiles from Cuba after the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. U.S. President Richard Nixon tries to eat with Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai in China, 1972. If today it's the Beatles, then what will tomorrow bring? Christian rally against the Beatles, California, 1966. At the peak of his popularity, Charlie Chaplin participated in a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest in San Francisco. He came in 20th place. Due to a pilot's mistake, supplies intended for a women's battalion were dropped. Southern Rhodesia, 1980. White people near the house of a black family they set on fire during the race riots in Chicago, 1919. Chinese justice. A prisoner kneels on chains with hands tied by the pinkies. Mukden, 1906. Waitress race carrying drinks. New York, 1967. In the Victorian era, hair became an important part of a woman's appearance, reflecting her status and femininity. Women never cut their hair, 19th century. A girl crossing the border between East and West Berlin. She made it and survived, but not everyone was so lucky. Many were shot. Later, a 4-meter-high brick Berlin Wall would be built along this drawn line. A man fuels up his motorized roller skates, 1961. Chemists from Polaroid and the reagents they tested, 1963, USA. A girl tries to cut a sunbeam, 1886. Meet Johan K. Paterson, the tallest man in Icelandic history, standing at an incredible 7 feet 8 inches. That's 2.34 meters. Crime-fighting bicycle, 1948. It was equipped with 13 shotguns and rifles, 2 revolvers, 6 bayonets, and a flare gun. Adolf Hitler signs an autograph for a Catholic nun, 1932. A woman in an elegant dress on a dusty street in the Wild West is concealed behind a mask protecting her from the sun and wind. In an era when a tan was associated with manual labor and aristocratic paleness was the ideal, such accessories were considered a necessity. The kidnapped South Korean actress Choi Yoon-hee is greeted by her new abductor, Kim Jong-il, North Korea, 1978. Miners packed into a multi-tiered lift, Belgium, early 20th century. Known as cages, these primitive elevators descended 1,000 meters deep. Cable snaps were common, turning the crowded shaft into a deadly trap with no escape. They even carried pigeons inside, living gas detectors that would drop dead if the air turned toxic. Lifebuoys for swimmers. In 1925, they were made from bicycle inner tubes. Gold rush, Serra Pelada, gold mines, Brazil, 1986. A man hugs his dog who had inhaled carbon monoxide. The photo was taken immediately after a firefighter carried the dog out of the burning house. Maharaja Jai Singh, drawn to the luxury of Rolls-Royce, visited a showroom in London in casual clothes. His unrecognizability led to an incident where nationalists mistakenly took him for an ordinary Indian and expelled him from the showroom. Instead of anger, he bought 6 cars and sent them home to clean the streets. This caused a scandal and damaged the Rolls-Royce brand's reputation, associating it with garbage in the public eye. Tokyo citizens mourn the death of Hachiko, 1935. The loyal dog waited for his owner at the station every day, even after his passing. The current Empress of Japan, Masako Owada, with her friends in kindergarten, 1967. Demonstration of the Devil's Wind execution method. This type of execution involved tying the condemned to the muzzle of a cannon and firing a cannonball through their body. A bullet-ridden pickup passes by a skeleton on the road, Somalia, 1992. A race education class at a school for German girls, 1943. The first image of people in a photograph happened by accident, taken in 1838. Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini, 1941. A look at 2,000 yards, or a distant gaze. An unfocused gaze often observed in soldiers who have experienced combat trauma. In the 19th century, atheist George Hall had a debate with a believer about whether giants once roamed the earth. Believing that people would believe anything written in the Bible, Hall carved a statue of a giant man, made it look petrified, and buried it in the ground in Cardiff, New York. He waited more than a year before digging up the Cardiff giant, charging people to come see it. By the time he was exposed, he had made nearly $500,000. In 1885, an ancient Maya statue was found in the jungles of Honduras by archaeologists. Early stage of a beauty contest evaluating contestants' figures, USA, late 1940s. Parisian children enjoying the thrilling climax of a puppet show of St. George and the Dragon, 1963. Execution of a murderer by burying him up to his head, Persia, 1870s. Women from Morocco, 1971. In 1945, the USS Indianapolis was carrying an atomic bomb to Japan, but was torpedoed and sank. The sailors who ended up in the water were attacked by sharks. About 150 people died from their teeth. Harold Gillies is rightly called the father of modern plastic surgery. Thanks to his method of skin grafting, soldiers disfigured during World War I were given a chance at a new life. In a Japanese village in 1901, girls raised and looked after the younger children in the family so that the parents could work and feed everyone. In the 1950s, New York had tunnel police. Japanese kamikaze pilots before their final flights, 1945. Berlin residents search for food in the ruins, 1945. The first Coca-Cola bottle sold to the public, 1894. A U.S. Marine feeds an orphaned kitten, Korean War, 1953. Radium mask for treating facial cancer, 1920. Martin Luther King is attacked by States' Rights Party member Jimmy Robinson as King attempts to check into a hotel, USA, 1965. A man sleeps in a sarcophagus during a bombing raid. London, 1940. In 1941, after the attack on Pearl Harbor, anti-Japanese hysteria swept the U.S. Here is waitress Ruth Lee, born in America. Fearing she'd be mistaken for Japanese, she sunbathed on the beach alongside a Chinese flag. Preparation for mass executions at Babi Yar. Between 1941 and 1943, it is estimated that the Nazis executed between 70,000 and 200,000 people here. Pablo Escobar inside one of his cash vaults. Legend has it he spent $2,500 a month just on rubber bands to hold his money together. Colombia, 1982. Oldest photo, 1826. Behold the very first wireless telephone, pictured here in 1919. The symbol of the Ku Klux Klan became white suits and masks. Klan members burned crosses and terrorized their victims. In total, over 130,000 black people, Jews, and Asians suffered. The Klan was only definitively disbanded in 1944. The Strangler. Sakhalin, 1903. A woman could strangle a man if she caught him cheating, but not all women had enough strength. Thus, the profession of stranglers emerged. The unemployed stand in line at Al Capone's free soup kitchen. The Great Depression. Chicago, USA, 1931. Just 3 days after World War II ended, Soviet cipher clerk Igor Guzenko defected, leaking classified documents to Canada. The Guzenko affair is considered the spark that ignited the Cold War. Responsibility for their work. Testing a bridge over the Ob River. Engineers and builders stand under the bridge. Russian Empire, 1893. First day of black student Dorothy Counts at Harry Harding High School, USA, 1957. She was one of the first black students admitted, but withdrew after only 4 days due to harassment. The first woman to attempt to vote. When trying to enter a polling station, she was pushed out and thrown to the ground. United Kingdom, 1872. 2 women display their bare legs in public for the first time in Toronto, Canada, 1937. Vibration therapy, 1890s. A curious treatment for headaches of the era. Horse-drawn carriages, trams, early 1900s. This photo shows a Karelian tradition. For the first 6 months after marriage, a bride would kneel and ask her mother-in-law for blessings before starting any household task. 1894. Photo of total solar eclipse on July 11, 1991. Chiapas, Mexico. Dubai, 1965. Throughout the USS Triton's secret mission to circumnavigate the world submerged, the only unauthorized individual to spot the submarine during those 60 days was a Filipino man on his canoe who noticed its periscope. April 1960. In 1968, for the first time in history, a woman lit the Olympic flame. In the photo, Mexican runner Ketty Basilio. Berta Baranda, 5 years in prison for cutting off her husband's member for cheating. USA, 1907. The fattest man in the world. This is what a freak show poster claimed in 1890. Interestingly, in our time, this is a quite common physique. A Turkish official taunts starving Armenian children with bread. The Armenian Genocide, 1915. In ancient Egypt, to mourn the death of a cat, the owner shaved his eyebrows. Whether this clip sparked joy, anger, or just a bit of annoyance, I want to hear your thoughts below. Stick around for part 2 coming soon. Please hit like and subscribe to support the channel. See you!